Today we're going to be making the picture frame. So I'm going to start by rolling out my slab. Remember, guys, to have your template that you want and make sure that you've already got the width that you want for your picture frame when you have it this direction. That way it'll be a lot easier. You can just roll it in one direction and not worry about having to do double the measurements and whatnot. So I'm just going to start kind of rolling it out here. And again, make sure too that your pencils are there and that you're making sure that your cup is on them so that you're going to get nice even thickness. My clay is a little damp, so it's wanting to stick to the cup a little bit, so just be aware of that. Oops. Oh man, we're going crazy. I need to rotate my paper here because it's getting wet too. It's pretty cold out here in the garage, so the everything's got a little dew on it. A little dew. And I think I can probably trim up a little bit of these edges to get my pencils just a little bit closer together here. There we go. You don't have to do this, guys, but my cup is not as wide. There we go. So now I'm just making sure that I've got nice even thickness. Okay, and I think I'm ready now to start cutting it out. So I have two different frames here. I did a fun shape frame and then I just did a simple frame here. So I'm going to do my simple frame on this one. So I have make sure that I got my outer line that's good and then my interior line that's also good on the page here, because that is what I need. Okay, so because like I said out here it's a little bit cold and damp, I'm going to just put this on here like so, and I'm actually just going to be making lines on my clay. I'm not going to cut it quite yet, so I'm just going to take the edge of my ruler and just make indentations on my clay of where I want those lines to be. Oh, went a little too far. So basically I'm tracing the exterior piece now. Oh, I need to move these. I wondered why it was not going well. So I'm just getting kind of my exterior lines. And once you have your exterior lines here, made a mess. I was going to do a crazy fox. And then I was like, that's crazy. Too complicated. I mean, it was not really too complicated, but okay. So now I have my exterior lines and now I need my interior lines. Now my interior lines, I probably should have just left the paper there, but that's okay. We'll put it back. My interior lines, I'm just going to use the ruler as a straight edge, and then I'm going to use my, because I don't want it to go through the lines here. I just want to get the interior box. So I'm going to use my toothpick, and then I'm just going to use this edge as a straight edge again. And I'm just going to, like, I could actually poke little holes in the corners, so I know exactly where those are. And then I'm just going to use my toothpick as a straight edge, or my as like a pencil. And it's just going to draw those lines nice on there for me. I pre-measured this, guys, and on the instructions I told you guys that it is an inch thick from here to here, but mine's not quite an inch. I felt like for this particular project an inch was a lot, so it's just about 3/4 of an inch. So you guys can kind of make that judgment. It's distracting. Make the judgment call there. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect those dots here because I can barely see the lines, and I think no, I'm not gonna cut with that. It's too much. Okay. So I'm just going to connect my dots. And I'm not going all the way through. I'm just making the lines on the clay. I have decided that, so I kind of did it twice, but I got the idea there. You could have just done the dots and then connected the dots, I suppose. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set this aside and let it get a little leather hard because it's super, super, super soft. And if I try to cut the edges with my knife right now, it's going to move and shift, and I don't want it to do that. So I'm going to set it aside, but later I'm going to just trim these off and then cut out the center. And I'm going to keep the center for the foot because it's just a lot simpler, right? So I can keep the center for the foot, and then I might roll out, or I guess I can use these edges here, like this extra pieces for my letters. So keep all of your little extra pieces because you're going to need them to make your extra little bits here. All right, so there's my simple rectangular one. And like I said, I'm going to cut it out a little bit later when it gets a little bit more hard. And now I'm going to be like a cooking show. And I'm going to rotate to my next slab, to the next one. And I'm going to open this up for this one. All right, so now I'm going to put my little dinosaur on there. Now with my dinosaur, I just need to make sure I have enough room for that tail because I want to add a tail. But I might have to curve it. It's going to have to get curved. Okay, so for my dinosaur, I'm going to do the same thing where I just take my toothpick and draw the lines on there. I just got a silhouette. I actually did find this one on the internet. I just kind of copied it. And I wasn't able to finish its mouth off, so I have to improvise. So I'm just going through and tracing it. So if you wanted to do a fun shape one, now this one's going to get a little trickier with putting letters or a word on here, but we still need it to meet the requirements. So think about the texture that you want on here as well. Like this is a dinosaur, right? So I'm probably going to do just kind of a rough texture. And then this circle I just drew with a small cup. Oops. I don't know if you guys can hear my chickens clucking, but they want out. Okay. So then I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do with my tail. Oops, I did it again. Okay. And then you can see. So I got to figure out what I want to do with my tail here. I don't like that. I don't like that. Maybe it'll just end up being kind of an extended tail. Maybe I'll have to add some of it on. Okay, and again, I'm going to kind of set this aside and then cut it out when it's more leather hard. So give him a little smile. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to set it aside. And like I said, I'm going to keep these pieces here to do letters or numbers later. So, to be continued.